It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 18th of September. This is the C block, the Charlie block, which means we start at right around 7:40. And John, with my GPS clock in full force, we're only a couple seconds off, aren't we? Like a couple seconds off?
Yeah, we're military precision again, Brad. Send you down to Fort Leonard Wood.
Okay. I was in North County last night, and I have to admit, I ate a meal in North County last night, and I'm sitting there at my table, and a woman across the hall or across the room kept winking at me.
God, do I need to take my headphones off? Are you going to blare this Dorothy thing in my ears?
She kept winking at me.
I'll take them off. Go ahead,
Finally,
Brad.
I walked over to her table, and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" And she looked at me, and she said,
"What would you do with a brain if you had one?"
I'm sorry, God. I haven't done it in a while.
What I love about your top, Brad, is that some of them I can't hear, which is great. And then when we do the top three in A block, you destroy my eardrums by playing it at 204 decibels. But I generally, when you play a clip like Dorothy, I know what it's going to be, or if it's Rodney King or something else we've beaten to death. But I love that I can't hear it, and then I just try to gauge by your laughter what clip it was.
Okay. John, a question for you. Yesterday evening, on Wednesday evening, between 4 and 6:30, where were you yesterday, John?
Well, Brad, I wasn't planning on talking about this on the air, but thanks for the segue and talking about personal stuff on the air. Yesterday, Brad, I went with a fantastic co-pilot in the back seat who just came from school, and we went to Dave Sinclair Ford, which is way out of my way in a, can we just say disgusting part of town? And I went and I got a blood sample, Brad, for my prostate, thanks to Brad Hildebrand and your health scare, which I'm sure will turn out to be nothing and it'll be much ado about nothing. But Brad, you suggested that men go out, dudes, but not dudettes. You suggested that folks go down there and get a blood screening. And I followed your recommendation, Brad. I went to Dave Sinclair Ford yesterday. And you know what? I think I was in and out, like Brad's old girlfriends would say, in and out in about 4 minutes.
John, it's everything I made it out to be, correct? I mean, it was fantastic.
When you walk in, there was really nobody pointing you exactly where to go. I had to look around. I had to ask one of the nurses. She's like, go up there. And then I filled it out. And, it could have been, well, I'm not going to criticize something for free. Anyway, it was great, Brad. And hopefully I will get my self-addressed envelope in the mail in the next few days that will tell me that the almond-shaped appendage inside my body is doing just fine.
Now, John, nosy question. Have you had this screening?
I have not.
You've never had this screening before.
Correct.
And you're getting, you're much younger than me by many decades, but you're getting into that time of your life where this could be a concern. You agree with me?
Absolutely, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so, John, I know you didn't like going down to South County. John's one of these West County guys. He's got like this, like you have, I don't know if you get, what is that, invisible fence kind of thing you put in like your yard where if your dog runs like outside your dog.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Brad.
John wears one of those collars around his neck where if he goes 5 miles north of Highway 40 or 5 miles south of Highway 40, he starts to get the stinging feeling in his neck. Oh my God, I can't go there. And he has to turn.
And what's not true about that is that I love going to St. Charles County. I have a lot of events in St. Charles County and things of that nature. But I'm not a South County guy, Brad. I grew up in North County. And I thought of you yesterday because as I looked out the window and was absolutely disgusted by the volume of all white people in South St. Louis County, I was thinking there's just something about growing up in North County that when you see South County, I think a little bit of bile creeps up. And that's nothing. I know there's wonderful people down there in South County, but I'm just a North County bred guy. And then when I see South County, I'm like, 63123? 63126? What is a Gravois road? Ugh. Anyway, but let's get back to the main point, Brad. I got my exam yesterday, and I, of course, wouldn't have known about this at all if it wasn't for you. And I predicted with a beautiful member of my offspring, I predicted that I would be the only person under the age of 100. And as my daughter pointed out, I was correct.
Did you say, what did your daughter say? You're a young guy, Dad, and all those other guys are old dudes, right?
Yeah, I mean, something to that effect for sure. We had a nice discussion about the prostate gland, its function, why only men get prostate cancer, things of that nature, Brad. That's beyond the scope of this conversation. The point is, Brad, Brad, you preface this every day this week. I'm not trying to say I'm a great guy. I'm not trying to say that I'm great. But, Brad, you are great, and you're bringing attention to this issue. You have a scare. You're going to get more tests done. It's going to be nothing. It's going to be, as you quote Shakespeare, much ado about nothing. And then you'll go on to your next crisis, which will involve KFUO or some meaningless debate with high-powered attorneys that will have no positive result for you. But anyway, the prostate thing will just be a week-long scare for you. I appreciate what you did, Brad, and I hope that I get good results.
John, what if I come back and the doctor says you got 6 months to live, Brad? Will you feel bad about what you just said?
No, absolutely not. Because I'll begin talking to your kids about offloading the radio station. I'll begin talking to them about, hey, yes, I think it's ridiculous that your dad cuts the grass at the transmitter site when he could contract it out for cheaper and he wouldn't burn his neck. Anyway, no, I won't feel bad about it at all because if God decides it's your time, Brad.
Okay. Appreciate that, John. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No, sincerely, I'm glad you went. And even though you are a young guy, I will tell the story of a friend of mine who lost her husband at, I believe, 46 to Alzheimer's. And most people will go like, 46? Alzheimer's? Yes, some of these diseases which you pretty much equate to 55, 60 plus, age, do not necessarily discriminate against young people as well. And you are a young person. I'm glad you went. And it gets to the point where for me, I think I've done this for like 9, 10, 11 years with the Dave Sinclair family where they do this all the time. And I'm glad to hear, even though you weren't wild about the fact when you walked in, you weren't exactly prompted what to do at the one down there at Lindbergh and Lee Ferry for the Dave Sinclair GMC Buick dealership. You walk in the door and they're literally the table's right there at the front door. But I'm glad to hear you got in and out very quickly, and it was essentially, except for a little pinprick, it was no pain. Correct?
Boy, Brad, you've heard that before in your life, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And in their defense, I did come in, pardon the expression, through the back door. If I had come in through the main entrance, I think I would have been greeted immediately.
Okay, cool.
In their defense, I did. Well, did do a little. I was kind of playing around with the back door. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's what I was curious about because normally when I've done that one a couple times as well too, and normally when walk in the front door, they're right there, so there's no.
Yeah, I parked in the side. Okay, we don't need to split hairs for the audience.
Okay, well, you sort of make it sound like, hey, does anybody know what's going on here? No, we have no idea. That kind of thing, like okay. Anything else you want to bring up this morning, John?
If we're going to start making Ask John what we should talk about in C Block, I'll start having some stuff prepared, Brad.
Well, no. I'm just trying to say because most of the stuff I've talked about, I'm trying to be equal time here.
Well, hey, I didn't know that we were going to start doing that. That's fantastic. Well, we have a number of stories up today, Brad. There's been, I would just point folks to the fact that there's been a controversy about redistricting because liberals say that the map that Kehoe produced puts one Kansas City precinct in 2 different congressional districts, and that just shows Republicans didn't know what they're doing. And Governor Kehoe's team has a response to that, and I have that up today, Brad.
Well, the interesting thing about that is I heard a Democratic lady complain about the fact, they're splitting Kansas City in half. Well, like they already did that with Columbia. Columbia.
Yeah, nobody had a problem when it was Columbia, did they?
Right.
Brad?
And then you've got St. Charles County, which is split in half. You've got Jefferson County, which is not necessarily in half, but you have 2 congressional districts in Jefferson County. And keep in mind, if you look at the top 10 population counties in the state of Missouri, obviously all of the collar counties of St. Louis, meaning St. Charles, Franklin, and Jefferson, and the collar counties as well in Kansas City are all top 10 counties. Why would you split them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you would think that it would make more sense to have communities with a unified interest to be together. So
exactly.
Keep St. Charles County together.
Right.
Keep Jefferson County together.
Right. And
hey, if we could split those up, I don't know why we can't split Kansas City up.
Well, I still say, to make things interesting, we should make 1st District North County and part of St. Charles County, which I think would be very interesting. Don't you think, John?
Yeah, and it would violate the Voting Rights Act of 1965, but it would be fun. Maybe we could have Brad Hildebrand represent them in court. You've represented yourself in court before, Brad. You know the way the court works.
Many times, John. And how do you represent yourself in court? If you're a dude, you wear a suit and tie, a nice suit, and you can do anything you want. I told you.
That's pretty much what it is. Now, Brad, I referenced earlier, it's been, I think, more than a month since you've written a letter to the FCC. You mentioned the FCC before. Are you considering, are you still tilting at windmills with KFUO, or what's the latest there?
It's interesting you should mention that because of the fact that, and I checked it last week, I haven't checked it this week, essentially their license application has been stalled because of my complaints, and I do not know if it's just a procedural thing. I'll take a look at it right now. You mentioned that. It is still, they filed for license to cover on June 30th, and it's still pending, and I'm going to look. I'm going to click on the orange triangle, and according to this, they have not. I made a response. I sent a pleading in under the company name on July 16th. I sent a second pleading under my personal name on July 18th, and that's the last thing they have had. So in other words, the attorney firm for the Lutheran Church has not responded. The FCC has done nothing with this, as far as I know, behind the scenes. Now, the only problem with that is the attorney firm that they have and the engineering firm that the Lutheran Church has. I have to essentially hire myself, and I have to hire a wonderful guy who is very affordable to me. The Lutheran Church hires $1,000 an hour attorneys and very expensive technical representatives. For all I know, they've already been to D.C. They've already taken the FCC people out to lunch, bought them some, a steak, and got them some cocktails, and and it goes.
Oh yeah, so they're bribing them, is what you're saying, Brad.
They say sit on this for a couple more months, and then we'll make it look like Brad's actually had an impact with his crazy stuff he filed where he's.
Yeah, I like that. Now, if they're employing high-powered attorneys using church funds, have you thought of going to godsquad.cloud and asking them for a little bit of help, Brad?
John, I have to tell you, what's so frustrating to me is I had the discussion over the weekend with someone who essentially said to me, this is sort of interesting, because they said, Brad, I have to admit something to you, that I think you're right about something. I go, what? And they essentially having misgivings about the church they're involved with, because they're seeing the church as more interested in generating, I don't want to call it revenue, because that would be something that businesses do, but I guess donations, tithing, whatever. They're more interested because all they talk about is, we need more donations to complete this project, which I won't mention what it is. Some people will figure out what church I'm talking about. And we need more money so we can buy this piece of property. We need more money so we can renovate this. We need more money so we can do that. We need more money, blah, 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 blah. And it gets to the point where God takes the back seat. Matter of fact, God's hanging onto the bumper. He's not even in the front. He's not on the steering wheel driving. He's not even in the shotgun seat. He's not in the back seat. He's hang on by. He's almost. Matter of fact, he may be on top of the station wagon like Mitt Romney in a carrier, in a pet carrier on top, because.
Oh, yikes! Because you're saying, to quote the rap group Arrested Development, Lord, I know you're supposed to be my steering wheel and not just my spare tire. Right. You're saying they're treating the Lord and Savior like a spare tire.
And by the way, John, I forgot to do it this morning. One of the things we need to do is, John's so good at this, we need to start the show out every morning in A Block right as we get going. And I'm going to throw out a term to John, and John's going to tell me what that term means. And I'm going to do it right now in the last couple of seconds we have. Steez, S-T-E-E-Z. What does steez?
Yeah, like my steez, my style.
Yeah, what does steez mean?
Steez is a shortened version of style, and it was popularized on the Gangstar album. Gosh, what album was that? 1998 Gangstar, and they had a song called "You Know My Steez." by Guru. Guru wrote the song. DJ Premier.
Why did I know John would know what that meant? See, what I find this so funny about you, John, is you're this button-down white dude from West County, but yet
I am not from West County, but go ahead.
But you live in West County now. But
Correct.
Now you are like Mr. Gangster. You can quote all these different. Okay, give me a quote from a Grandmaster Flash song. Come on, go. Just give me one. One quote.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
This blows me
And that
away.
was from The Message, which has been sampled in a number of songs, including, most famously, Ice Cube song Check Yourself, the remix samples. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Okay.
It's probably, in my opinion, Brad, the greatest rap song. I have goosebumps talking about it right now. It's probably the greatest rap song ever written was The Message.
See, John, you can take the white guy out of North County, but you can't take the black guy out of a West County dude, right?
No, that's the kindest thing you've ever said in the show. And when you go to Instagram today, the song of the day will be You Know My Steez by Gangstar. And that playlist on Spotify is put together lovingly by the one and only Camellia Peterson. So shout out to Camellia. Camellia, I appreciate you every day.
Okay, John, we'll try it again tomorrow. And maybe, let me think, my calculator is John only made fun of me 14 times today. Let's see if we can go for...
Yeah, thank you, Brad. They were all compliments. I'm glad you were able to take them the way you should.
Let's see if we can go for 20 tomorrow. John, say goodbye.
See you tomorrow.